Today, we live in a very peculiar age and time in human history. Um, we stand on a passage of transition, as it were, where what we decide today or choose today will have very serious ramifications in the near and the long-term future. This passage of time, as it were, stands between two timelines, the one that we have lived and the other that we shall live. The previous century has been a century of outer exploration, marked by astronomical and gigantic technological and material progression, along with it economic progression. The current age will be an age of exploration of the inner world, the inner space. This subjective world is something which we have very conveniently ignored. And sadly, mainstream education has shied away by not addressing this subjective exploration. What we have seen is that we have concerned ourselves too much with the observed, the outer cognitive world, but have never questioned the observer, who observes and what observes, and subsequently the process of observation. And so therefore we find that we take the parts as a whole. So this is a technical error in understanding the reality of things, as it were. The Skandagiri Commune will facilitate and curate such an exploration specifically for educators and schools and for anyone who is seriously interested in the future. I would like to address very briefly three most significant, profound, dramatic and life-changing breakthroughs that have directly impacted our day-to-day life, especially in the last 10 to 20 years, and continues to impact our thinking, our attitude about the world. The first one is evolutionary biology. This is something which is directly concerned with the human being, his or her capacity to think and evolve. If we were to look at the evolution of life on Earth, we would see two distinct movements. First, there is an evolution of consciousness that is taking place. Along with that, an evolution of form. Now, Darwin would make us believe that it is the evolution of form that gives rise to consciousness, or it's the consciousness that would give rise to the form. Whatever the case may be, what we have seen is that there hasn't been any relapse in this higher evolutionary curve. What we see is the protozoa, the most inferior, less organized structure to the human being that stands right at the top of the curve, being more superior and more complex. And as you see, the nervous system becoming more complex with change in form, from a protozoa to plants, to water, to fish, mammals, various animals that we had, and till the time the human being is evolved, stands right at the top of the evolutionary curve, we find that the nervous system is the most complex, with the most complex evolution of consciousness at the same time. However, it is very interesting to note that while we have had material progression, we have also seen that there are crises of multitude multitude crises and of various degrees. And the human being stands at a point where one is not able to respond to such crisis. And the question that we need to now ask is, what next? What will lead us from this morass of crises and challenges that we find ourselves in to the next evolutionary stage? Evolution of form has happened without our conscious participation, but evolution of consciousness will happen with our conscious participation. It is to this effect that we call participatory and conscious futures. The Skandagiri Commune will open up, will create opportunities for people to address these pressing questions, I would say, which we have ignored over a period of time. The second breakthrough that I want to talk about is physics, especially quantum physics and modern physics, that has now begun to have a direct impact on how we see the world. When we refer to physics, we refer to the Greek philosophy. The main idea, and this is how physics has been explained, is the main idea is to explore the basic nature of things, to get to the main constituent of matter. And if you were to now, in the light of this understanding, were to go back and refer to the physics as subject in school, you will see there's a contrast. While we are more concerned with theories and axioms and so on and so forth, the whole idea behind exploring the reality which physics is all about is completely ignored. And interestingly, the Greek always had science, philosophy, and religion as one. They did not see any separation, any division between the three. I'll give you a very popular experiment. If we want to observe, measure light as wave, then we would set up an experiment to measure light as wave. We would end up measuring light as wave. However, what is also interesting is, if we set up an experiment to measure light as particle, we will end up measuring light as particle. Interesting, right? What this goes to show is that our intention directly modifies the result of the experiment. Now, if this is so, then one stands to ask this question: why has the mainstream education ignored this? Why are we still occupied with theories and formulas and so on and so forth? This is another reason why we would like to, at Skandagiri Commune, we would like to expand our horizon, widen our understanding of life and science. The third breakthrough that I'd like to refer to, which can be largely termed as technology, artificial intelligence in particular. What we are experiencing right now, even as we speak, is something called technological singularity, which, very simply put, is a time where technology will take over the human mind and life, if you will. And this will be a point of no return, which essentially means that we would end up outsourcing our thinking, outsourcing our mind, outsourcing our life to technology, and will become extremely dependent, profoundly dependent on technology. And as we speak right now, and if we are slightly conscious, we would agree that we have reached a remarkable point in time where we are experiencing technological ambivalence, which means that we are beginning to question whether technology is superior or my own thinking is superior. Our decisions today are guided by algorithms of sorts. And we're beginning to rely more on what the technology is throwing at us. If we continue at this pace, we are soon going to reach the next point within the technological singularity scheme, if you will, which is technological inundation. We would all agree that technology is superior and lend our life completely to these algorithms. Now, this is alarming, and we haven't given enough time. We haven't looked into the future to be able to figure out these red flags, and we, without thinking, are running at a uh, running very fast to sort of embrace technology. We need to take a pause and think and bring this orientation again back to our education, so that we correct our perception of life and step back and begin to think more deeply and more consciously as to where we are headed. So these are the three breakthroughs: evolutionary biology, modern physics, and technological singularity, which forms the basis of discussion at Skandagiri. We would be happy if we can start having dialogue around this, address it more seriously, because it not only concerns us but the future generation. If we don't do it now, it will be too late for us. The Skandagiri Commune is a deliberate and a conscious coming together of people to realize wider and deeper understanding of life. This particular movement, as we call it, where people come together, is based on a new perception of reality that has profound and direct implications on education and learning in particular, and on individuals, on groups, communities, in fact, on everyday life. The Skandagiri Commune initiative, or the effort, is specific to education and learning. And within education and learning, it is central to the individual, in that it would provide opportunities and experiences such that one can access higher ranges and realms of the human mind and go beyond the mind and source directly from the consciousness, the substratum of all that is. The whole idea is to create immersive experiences where one can step back from the flow of life and come to a certain degree of quietude and take an appraisal of all that is happening within oneself. There is a sense of cynicism about the future of humanity. Some of us feel that in our waking states, and even when we are asleep, and it's quite widespread and intense. We find ourselves in the middle of crises of all kind, and these are universal and worldwide. What we experience is that our inability to respond to whatever life throws at us is found wanting, and so therefore it becomes extremely important at this stage that we do an appraisal of our thinking, particularly how we think, not so much of what we think. So this coming together of people is in many ways a movement from self-assertion towards integration, from rational knowledge towards intuition, and from analysis towards synthesis. What we need is a new perception of reality. We need to change our lenses. We need to examine our own thinking if we have to respond to life challenges creatively. The Skandagiri Commune physical campus will create learning landscapes, as we like to call it, which will cater to different aspects of learning. For example, one aspect would be play, where the whole idea is to develop and promote the pedagogy of play, where children and adults can come together and engage uh, with each other. The other defining factor of the physical space would be immersive experiences. The Skandagiri Hills is nested in a beautiful natural landscape. People can come and stay for as long as they wish to and immerse themselves with the surrounding, the natural environment, and plenty of opportunities to trek, to sensitize oneself with the surrounding, and so on and so forth. The third aspect of learning which the Skandagiri campus will promote is to deliberate. Um, the, um, the physical space is such that the moment you enter the space, you automatically retreat from life. There will be opportunities to deliberate on topics and issues that concerns us, to have dialogues, to come to a certain degree of understandings amongst ourselves. So basically an ideal place to promote deliberation. And lastly, create. So this is something which we feel very strongly about, that the time has come for children specifically to actually learn hands-on, which means that they can create anything at all. And not only children, even adults, they can create anything at all that they wish to on the grass and at the roots. So this Skandagiri Commune is nature's laboratory of sorts, and that's what we would like to promote. So these are some of the learning aspects which we would be developing on as we move forward in our endeavor to give opportunities for institutions and people to come and engage at that place. The Skandagiri Commune will have 4 projects. The one that is currently operational is the Integral School, which is dedicated to the integral education as given to us by Sri Aurobindo. The school is based in Hyderabad and will soon open its second branch in Bangalore. The second project will be Center for Integral Learning, where the principles of integral learning will be introduced to people at large. We would be running experiential camping experiential programs at the Skandagiri campus, nestled in a beautiful landscape. We will open it up for families and for education retreats and so on and so forth. The third project is called the Skandagiri Innovation Lab, where we would invite children and the adults to create things hands-on the ground, and understand science, understand other subjects in an experiential way, to get a deeper understanding of these subjects. And then the fourth project that we have under the Skandagiri Commune initiative is the Teacher Inc., which will focus on developing capacities in the teachers to deal with the challenges that awaits us. So this is in a nutshell the scope of work as far as the Skandagiri Commune is concerned.